now what we have is a sweet wort. We have added all of our sugars, gotten rid of all that mess. I did remember that there was something I forgot to tell you guys. A second grain bag. You can dump your hops directly in there. If you're going to be pouring it into a carboy, you're going to have to use a funnel. I have a funnel big enough to set a strainer on top of, so I strain right into the funnel directly into the carboy. It's easy. Let me think. It's, in my opinion, a little better to put the hops in a bag. You're still going to get the hops, you know, in the water, in this, I'm sorry, sweet wort. My bittering hops, in this case, are going to be 1 full ounce of Kent Goldings, which is right here. We're still pre-boil. We've still got an hour boil left here, so we're still not worrying too much about, like, sterilizing these scissors. They're my kitchen scissors, so I've never used them to cut up anything disgusting, and they go into the dishwasher a lot and stuff. Kent Goldings. We're going to go into our second. This is, you can see, a little bit smaller grain bag that I use for my hops. There again, you're going to get some powder. Not to mention a few that I might miss the bag with and go straight into the wort. If they go directly into the wort, it's not a big deal. The more junk you have in your sweet wort, and you know, eventually when it goes into the fermenter, and I'm sorry, these are bittering hops, so they're going to go in for the entire boil. We're putting them in now. We got this fire back up and really going strong. So we're going to bring this up to a boil, and it's going to simmer for an hour. And these hops are going to be in there the whole time. But what I can do is open the bag up and add more hops, because we've also got, you know, our aroma hops and that kind of thing to go in. Cool. All right, so there they float. All right, so once again, I'm going to pull out the cell phone and set the timer for 40 minutes. Why 40 minutes? Because after 40 minutes, we'll have 40. Okay, start. Timer running. We'll have 20 minutes left in our boil. At 20 minutes left in our boil, I'm going to take my wort chiller and stick it in there, which is clean but not sanitized, so sticking it in here for a 20-minute boil is going to sanitize it. I'm also going to add a fining agent. For some of you, that's going to be Irish moss. For me, it's whirlflock, whatever. It's Irish moss, effectively, gets in here and it helps coagulate proteins, so a lot of your stuff will settle. You want your beer clear, that's one of the ways it's gonna work. So with 20 minutes left in the boil, when the timer's off at 40, we're gonna add our chiller. For those of you doing a partial boil, you're not gonna do anything because you're gonna be adding that cooling water at the very end. But with 20 minutes left in the boil, you are gonna add your fining agent, whether it be whirlflock or Irish moss, and let it continue to boil. Also notice when your hops are supposed to be added. This one stays in for the entire 60 minutes. With 5 minutes left in the boil, I'm putting in the next one, right, my flavoring hops. With 2 minutes left in the boil, I'm putting in my aroma hops. At that point, I will have already tossed in the whirlflock. I would already have put in the wort chiller, and those hops are basically just going to sit while the wort chiller does its job, really, is what it is. Okay, lid off, because any weird rosins or esters are just going to boil out. Like I said, we want this thing cranked. Okay, watch your pot. When this starts to boil, especially now that it's got those hops in there, there's a very good chance you're going to get a very strong foam when it first breaks. Hot break, for those of you who want me to say. Lower your heat, let the foam subside, and then reapply the heat and bring it up to a nice, good rolling boil. But watch it, because I swear to you, if you don't, right over the side. And it's a sticky, cruddy mess to clean up off your floor. All right, 40 minutes. See ya. Okay, less than 2 minutes until our 40 minutes is up. So we're going to toss in the whirlflock tablet. Oh, guys, let me put you down. Oh, you know, let me show you actually real quick before I do that. Can you see the level? How much water we've lost? That extra half gallon I put in is what took it from the lower level up over this lip. And you can see the clean mark between. So we've easily boiled off a half gallon. And that shows you why we do that. Okay, here's your weird flock tablet. Boom, just goes right inside there. Nothing special. And here is my copper wort chiller. Water goes through the tubes, runs through the chiller, cools it down. There's even been some comments I've seen where some people say that perhaps some of the copper leaches into the beer and it's good for the yeast. I don't know. That's just going to go in here. Now, what you have to be careful of is your hop bag. You don't want to snag that and tear it or anything like that. So, copper is a wonderful conductor of heat, as I'm sure you all know. So it will very quickly, whatever liquid is left in there from the last time, there's our 40-minute warning. Going to heat that up, boil it, and it'll start steaming it out to the tube. Okay. So now, the instructions tell us our next step after we add our clarifier, and in this case our wort chiller with 20 minutes left in the boil. Our next step is our Northern Brewers hops, which we're going to add with 5 minutes left in the boil. So that means we need to set this timer for 15 minutes. You could minus a minute if you want to be really accurate about that. Okay, here goes the timer. 15 minutes, and then we'll put in the hops. At that point, realistically, we've got 5 minutes left in the boil to put in the flavoring hops, 2 minutes left in the boil to put in the aroma hops. It's going to take a while for this thing to cool, the wort chiller to cool it down. So really, once those 5 minutes are done, at the time I put in my aroma hops, I'm going to go ahead and turn the fire off and let the wort chiller run while all the hops are in there. What the wort chiller does, like I said, it's going to bring in, woohoo! You can see now it's starting to steam out. The water coming out the end. Okay, my 3/4 inch garden hose here is going to hook up to the female garden thread fitting. Bump. And that's going to force cold water through the tubing, through the thing, and out through the exhaust end, which is just going to have, you know, heat, warm water out of it. To make this thing a lot more efficient, what I'd like to do is actually hook this, fill it up with water, female end and male end on the other side, hook it up to one of those little tiny pumps you can hook up to a drill, and it'll just circulate the water through it. And then all this extra tubing I'll just drop inside a bath of ice water, like, you know, a little ice chest or something, just full of ice water, and then it'll, you know, make it, I think, a little bit more efficient. This way is really wasteful with water, is all it is. Okay, so 15 minutes, and then we put in the last hops. Look at that, nice and brown.